Everyone, welcome back to another Bourbon Blind live stream. YouTube has stopped the Google Hangouts on air live stream, so everything's going to look a little bit different tonight. It actually works a little bit better, I think. We can all see the chat going and everything, so I can come in here and highlight some people's comments, like Pete with the Bookers, D. Willett, Ryan. So anyway, should be pretty awesome. You guys want to go around and just say a little something about yourself? Start with Jim. Jim, are you there? Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we're here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Jim. I'm in outside of Annapolis, Maryland, and drinking. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
David, what do you got in your glass right now?
I've got some. I'm David. I'm just outside Indianapolis, Indiana, just south there. And I'm drinking some Woodford Double Oak tonight.
That's a nice glass you got there, David.
Well, thanks. You know, it's this is a top quality bourbon blind glass, and this is part of the perk of becoming a Patreon member. If you want one of your top quality bourbon blind Glencairn glasses, just become a Patreon member. They send them to you. They're nice people.
And the Mash and Drum said Steve has a really nice shirt.
Wonder why he might possibly say that.
I don't know, man. That's weird.
Yeah, funny that. Steve, I'm just outside of Minneapolis, joining in and having a good night.
Awesome.
What did I get? Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit Store pick.
Sweet. And I got
You got nothing in your glass.
some Russell's Reserve
You got nothing.
that Jim and I were talking about. This one's from Single Barrel Project. Little underground whiskey group. So, speaking of which, Jim, what's the barrel number on yours? Do you know?
I didn't grab that one, but I think it was like M500 or something like that.
Yeah, 16500 Warehouse M.
Yeah.
Cool. And Aaron, what are you drinking on?
New Riff, Old Town Road. See, it's pretty. It's yummy. It's vanilla.
It is good.
Is that the bottled and bond or the cask strength?
Ooh,
Cask strength, single barrel.
Single barrel. And this one was picked by Old Town Road.
No, it was the
No.
Nashville group, our local
It's
group.
got a sticker on it.
Old
Nice.
Town Road.
It's good. This one's
I
really
just
good.
picked up one just off the shelf, so I'm excited to try it tonight.
You will not be disappointed.
Hopefully, our first
Actually,
single
I
barrel
can't
was
say that. The first one was amazing, and I drank the whole bottle. And then we got a second one, and it wasn't quite up to snuff, but it was still good. I mean, it just wasn't.
Well, the first one was the bottled and bond, which was delicious, and then we got the single barrel, and we're like, oh, that's not as good
Right.
as the off the shelf
That's right.
one. Like, and then the next one we got was delicious,
And this
I
one
bought,
is cream of the crop.
I bought 3 bottles of it. So,
It is
Nice.
absolutely amazing.
so speaking of good things and bad things, the most overrated trend in bourbon.
Mm.
Who wants to go first on that one? And everyone in the chat, what do you think is the most overrated trend in bourbon?
I'll go.
All right, Jim said he had something good.
Well, I think it might get a lot of people upset, but well, I think it just finished bourbons. And
Okay.
I think the reason why I say that in terms of it being overrated is because people rate it with their wallet, right? And things like, an MGB product that they don't want to just put their label on it and sell it. They need to do something with it, so they're going to put it in some different barrel. And I just don't think, for like Joseph Magnus, for example, I think it's okay, I like it, but is it worth $100? I'm regretting paying $100 for it. So I think that's a trend that in general is overrated. I get it, and it's not that I don't like it per se. I think it's just overrated.
Fair enough. David, what do you think?
Well, Jim, I completely agree with you. The first one that popped into my mind was Jefferson's, and soon after Joseph Magnus. For me, the most overrated trend in bourbon that I see, and it's not across the board, but it's pretty darn close, and that's the single barrel trend. And here's the thing. So I'm a big fan of Wild Turkey 101. And Kyle, you and I have talked about this before, but I bought some Kentucky Spirit here recently. And Wild Turkey 101, where I live, costs about $22. Kentucky Spirit costs $56. So I have to buy 2.5 bottles of 101 to equal the single barrel equivalent of Kentucky Spirit. And so when I tried it, unless you get a store pick and you know the people, and it's pretty solid stuff, it's not always a guarantee that it's going to be just a slam dunk. It's just like you were talking about with New Riff single barrel here. You know the bottled in bond's excellent because they've done it in batches. But the single barrel, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. Sometimes you just hit an absolute homer with it, and other times it's just meh. I really wish I wouldn't have bought that. And I felt that way about just a standard Kentucky Spirit that I bought. I'm sure that the store picks and some of the just single barrels that they put out are fantastic, but I just didn't get a good one, and it doesn't make me feel great when I pay $55 for a single barrel of something. I'm not just saying it applies to Kentucky Spirit, but just in general. I mean, like Jim Beam single barrel. Jim Beam single barrel is $42 versus regular Jim Beam, and it might be a market difference here, but is it really worth the $20 upcharge that you see? I mean,
So, David, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Sure.
You sent me a private message about a blind tasting that your wife set up for you.
I did.
So what happened with that?
So I had I asked my wife if she would set up a blind taste test between a Russell's Reserve store pick from here in Indianapolis, Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit, just a off the shelf, anybody could buy it, and then Wild Turkey 101. And I tried all three, and to be honest, I fully expected the Russells to emerge victorious, but it was Wild Turkey 101 that took it, and it wasn't. It won, but it wasn't close. And it wasn't close, excuse me. And Kentucky Spirit did not. It was not good at all, comparatively to the 101. So it.
I would say I fully expected Russell's Reserve to come out on top, and then probably 101. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I love that. This is why I love this. I love this channel. I love this nation because it forces you to take a real look at it and say, what are you really paying for? What do you really like? You know, like you always say, remove the price tag and the label from it. Is it that much better?
Some of it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of it is, and
some of it I'm willing to pay the price for it.
Steve, what do you think about the most overrated trend in bourbon?
I think I'm actually going to have to agree with David on this one as far as the non-store pick single barrels, where for a lot of the newer distilleries that are doing single barrels, you tend to get they're doing the single barrels to do single barrels so they can say it's a single barrel without necessarily picking out the right barrels to do it with. Where you get
putting out a single barrel to put out a single barrel,
barrel.
basically.
Right. Where, I mean, I've got a New Riff single barrel that's really good that I got from Total Wine. It wasn't a store pick, but it was a really good single barrel that Total Wine got the whole thing. And the day that I got it, they had like 2 different single barrel bottles that they had available. And I tried both of them, and I took the one that I wanted because the other one wasn't anywhere near as good. Where you get somebody like, I've got a couple of Four Roses single barrel store picks back here, or even just regular Four Roses single barrel, where they've been doing this for so long, and they're picking the right casks to do the single barrel with. Aren't quite what they should be, just putting into the regular Four Roses blends and everything. Where if the larger distilleries, McKenna, their 10-year single barrel bottled in bond has gotten insane after it won the award, but every bottle
is that the truth?
No kidding. Every bottle I have had of that has been really good, and I think that's partially because the ones that don't quite meet the standard go into just the regular 80 proof blends that they sell. They probably sell more of, even though people don't think about it because the people like us that are here on the stream are looking for the 10 years bottled in bond single barrel. They're looking for the Four Roses single barrels, things like that.
Right.
See,
And I mean, in general, like,
I would agree with it until you say Four Roses. I can't stand Yellow Label, and I love Four Roses.
No, I'm not saying that I like the Yellow Label. I'm saying that the regular, you go to the store, buy a bottle of Four Roses single barrel that's randomly everywhere. Those are all going to be pretty decent, at the very least. The store picks can be absolutely fantastic. But for Four Roses, they do enough blends for their small batch and the Yellow Label and small batch select and everything like that, that they're going to be tasting those barrels. The ones that they like are going into the single barrel. The ones that are okay but not quite what they want are going into the blends.
Into the blends, yeah.
And so those single barrels are good. It's the smaller distilleries.
I get you.
That are just getting going that they're doing a single barrel because they want to do a single barrel without taking the time to make sure that they're picking the right barrels to make a single barrel.
I get you. Totally.
So I'm going to say something different. And that is non-chill filtered.
That's not a trend, though. Well,
I mean,
it is now. It is getting to be.
It's a marketing ploy.
It really is. Honestly, like, I see NCF stuff and it's like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not against it. It's just, I think some people, look at Weller 107 on the secondary. It's like, oh, it's $75, but an NCF pick, so it's $125.
No. Just because it's non-chill filtered doesn't necessarily make it that much better. I tend to prefer the non-chill filtered because there's a little more. It feels to me like there's a little more to it, but that's not inherent in being non-chill filtered. You have to have the right stuff to begin with.
So,
I agree with that.
One of the guys from Buffalo Trace, that does the barrel program and stuff there's a really prominent pick group. And they got him to take one barrel and do it half chill filtered, half non-chill filtered.
I would love to try that.
Out of the same barrel. And because they were all going for the NCF, right? They did a blind tasting between the two of them, and almost every single person picked the chill filtered one as the winner.
I can see that.
For me, I also drink a lot of scotch, and it seems like there's a big difference in how rounded the flavors are in a scotch that's non-chill filtered versus the filtered. And I wonder how much of that is just the difference between single malt, used oak, longer aging potentially versus bourbon, and I think the other thing with non-chill filtered is how old was that barrel when they bottled it? If you're talking 2 to 4 years, that may not be long enough for the non-chill filter to make a proper difference. Where if you're dealing with something that's 10, 12, 15 years, that it's been in the wood that long, how much does the chill filtering take out at that point? And I'll be honest, I can't say that I know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I would love to find out. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you're going to do it, that's the only way to really find out is take the same barrel and do it half and half. Because otherwise, you're just comparing two different barrels. Yep. You know what I mean?
I think also maybe a lighter, the style of bourbon might influence whether or not you like non-chill filtered versus chilled filtered. A heavier, much more full, lot going on, something like a George T. Stagger or something like that. You might like it, and it's those heavier, darker flavors versus something that's lighter and more crisp. I could see where a filtered bourbon would probably be preferred, and I could see that with the Buffalo Trace. Yeah,
and I could see some distillers have talked about like at a certain proof, you know what I mean? It's better to chill filter or not chill filter, depending on high or low proof. Yeah. But people paying more price just because it's non-chill filtered and stuff is, I think, kind of silly to me. But
I think it's totally silly because it's less expensive to not filter it, and you're arguably getting more finished product if you're not filtering it. So it should be less expensive.
I agree. But I mean, with prices and everything going up,
Corey makes such a good one there. Shame he had to drop out.
Yeah, Corey said the worst trend in distillery is taking a long look at the secondary market to improve their price points and profits, which is definitely a real thing. And with the distillery, I mean, some of them, I don't know where, like what secondary market some of them are even looking at because, you know, we're just, so Corey used the Heaven Hill as an example, right? So there are some people, and luckily Heaven Hill didn't do this with the 6-year Bourbon bond, but they'll say, okay, well, we're selling it for $50, but we've seen it go for $400, so we're going to start charging $400 for it. And in reality, even like, you know, the secondary market, and, you know, as it used to be, it was only going for 100 to 150, but you know, if you get on like winesearcher.com, you see some stores trying to sell it for $300 or $400. So, you know, I like where are some of these people getting their, you know, the distilleries getting their prices from?
You know what I think the worst trend is?
What?
We need to get rid of, and this is not even just a trend, this is just the fact of the market. It's all based on what you're allocated. If we got rid of allocations for state by state basis, not allocated in the sense of like, oh, it's allocated, so therefore we need to be careful on, you know, we can't get it and we need to stand in lines and everything. But like Weller 107, or was that the antique that was all over Dallas? What was the
Special Reserve.
Special Reserve, all over Dallas. Tons of it on the shelves. And in certain places, you're finding no alcohol or no bottles. And in other places, they're swimming in it. And if we could get rid of those lines, you're going to see the market balance out.
Like, you could take this one, for example, and you go down south for the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and it is stacked on the shelf, just rows of it.
Ridiculous.
It is stacked front to back, 2 to 3 rows wide. Around here, I think I've seen it in Tennessee once on the shelf in the last 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
So if you had it, if you could get rid of that allocation through state by state, you would end up getting rid of the secondary. I mean, you won't get rid of it, but it would balance it out just a little bit. I mean, people are clamoring because you can't ship over state lines. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest piece with this whole bourbon thing.
So with the secondary prices and stuff, I mean, where is the top of the market? I mean, I thought a year ago we were getting close, and
then the last year,
I mean, that's, you know, prices are half of what they were last year, or, you know, last year they're half of what they are today, and it almost feels like, you know, the prices in bourbon are going the way of like Scotch, where, you know, it's like a $50 minimum for a buy-in for anything halfway decent, and then, you know, you have to go up from there to get better stuff, and that's just retail. You know what I mean? Obviously, secondary is going to do what it's going to do. They're crazy to begin with, but what do you guys think, Steve?
Excuse me. Yeah, that's the that's been something that's a little bit annoying. On the flip side, the question is and it really comes down to the market. And I realize that that's oversimplifying, and you have the secondary market that's out there that's driving a lot of this is the real problem. That people have gotten so into good whiskey over the last couple of years, especially, that until it's probably going to take a couple of years for everything to shake out, realistically. And a couple of years from now, you know, I think we probably are starting to reach that point of kind of the cap on things, because you're starting to see some of these bottles where, like the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, that even, you know, last fall those bottles were gone within a week or two in the Minneapolis area. I can go to several stores in town right now and find the A119 and B519, at least a couple of bottles here and there. It isn't that hard for me it wouldn't be that hard for me to get backup bottles of a couple of those. So I think it's starting to get to the point that there are enough really good bourbons out there now that people are going towards, and outside of the serious whiskey geeks, they're not necessarily willing to pay that much anymore. I mean, there is a lot of that going on, but I think they may have started to reach the point finally that you're running out of people that are willing to put more. And no video. So refresh. Axel Foley was asking why there's no video, which means that he was probably in before the video started and it just never loaded for him, which YouTube will do at times on live streams.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Because I've got it going over here and the video is going just fine.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah.
Corey was talking about, the 3-tier system, and that it's just basically wreaking havoc on
everyone and everything.
Right. You know what I mean? But like someone said, like there's a lot of tax revenue and lobbyists and stuff there. So, I mean, I don't see that going away anytime soon.
Neither is my wish for getting rid of state allocation.
Or even private party sales.
If you could sell across state line, that would fix everything.
You can't even sell in-state lines.
Yes, you can.
No.
What do you mean?
It is illegal.
Oh, you mean private party? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, duh.
So,
but if you could buy across state lines and just ship it like they do wine and beer.
Well, and the thing is that for me, I can, but that's a state law.
What state are you in?
Minnesota.
Nice to know.
One of the stores that a lot of people, several that are in the chat that I recognize the names of, buy from is right across town from me, Ace Spirits. And they ship to like
26 states.
How many?
26.
26. There you go.
David is on top of it.
David knows. I don't have to worry about it because when I want to buy something from Ace Spirits, I just get in the car and drive over to the store. But that's a state rule, a per state rule, not a federal rule.
David, what do you think? Are we near the top? Oh, so all right. So are you? Do you think we're near the top of the market? And then I got a good question for you guys.
Yeah, we probably are near the top of the market. What it really comes down to, I mean, though, is the international market. How much whiskey are they wanting? I mean, over in China, for example. I mean, over in Japan or wherever.
Europe.
But in Europe, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Campari, I believe owns Turkey. I believe they're European, aren't they?
Yes, Campari owns Wild Turkey.
Yeah, and I think they're based over in Europe somewhere, maybe Italy. But I don't think I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this comment, but I mean, bourbon going the route of Scotch in terms of pricing. I mean, I don't think bourbon drinkers are that pretentious about their whiskey. I mean, I don't think they are. Some of them probably are, but
someone in the Moose 76 in the chat said we need Amazon to sell whiskey in the U.S.
Hell yeah!
Well, and
Please.
Yeah.
Warehouse pricing. Let's go.
I guarantee Amazon would love to.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sure they would love
But
to.
Walmart, they'll sell anything.
The laws are just such that the way the liquor distribution rules are in the different states, it's way more than it's worth for them.
So I heard rumor of, was it Amazon, I think, lobbying to allow interstate selling of alcohol through
I'm sure
Amazon.
they would be one of the big lobbyists in favor of that.
Oh, I'm sure, like that's a
I heard
lot of
also
money.
Rumor that they were going to do, what was it, California, Tennessee. I'm trying to think of the other ones that they're going to start allowing alcohol to be sold.
I hope so.
But it's a.
I don't think it will.
I think there were 6 states that were going to get in on it, but it was large talk about maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and then radio silence. Haven't heard.
What do you think, Jim?
I think you got to look. I suspect that the distilleries and the companies, they have incredibly sophisticated resources to get into things like price elasticity, demand elasticity, and we talked about the secondary market. And let's say a bottle of Stag sells for $500. That doesn't mean that the penny profit on that one bottle was a lot of money, but they don't put $400 in the bank. They want to put millions in the bank. So how many people are willing to pay that $500? That gets into the whole elasticity thing. Right. I suspect that with respect to what's allocated where, I think they probably even get into demographics and psychographics to where they know certain markets are willing to pay so much money for a particular label and others aren't. And I think they're selling the product that way. I can tell you I was in a different business where we sold cigars, and we were selling cigars for, let's just say, $10. People were willing to pay the $10 for it, and it was a quality cigar, but we would sell more of it if we could sell, or we could also sell it for $1 and sell the heck out of it and make a lot of money. But we didn't. We took literally the same cigar and put a different label on it and said it was a second cigar. That it wasn't as good. They're literally the same, but we would have diluted the value of the $10 cigar if we priced it at $1 average. So I think it's really economics like that are factoring in, that are influencing the pricing and what's available where. And in terms of whether or not it's going to tap out, I don't know. The international market, like David mentioned, I think has an influence on it, but you've got the distribution cost for that as well. At the end of the day, it's all about what's going to put more money in the pockets of the shareholders of those companies.
Exactly. And I mean, if there's one company that knows about that, that's Amazon.
Well, you see,
So I
wouldn't see.
Sorry, I was trying to pay attention to that. What the hell's going on with that bottle?
So what I would say with that is that, no, I don't think even if Amazon is able to start selling liquor and shipping liquor across the U.S., I don't see things like George T. Stagg ever making it there. It's too limited.
But if Amazon is selling, 50,000 cases of Buffalo Trace and Wheatley vodka a year, what's their allocation going to be?
That would be an interesting question. And yeah, who knows how that plays out.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
But even outside of that, getting things like, just the Elijah Craig small batch, Wild Turkey 101, Jack Daniels. I mean, just the standard stuff. Even having that able to be sold by Amazon or somebody like that would be a huge step.
So we are destroying a bottle over here.
Some help over there?
I fixed it.
What on earth is that?
I don't know. But the whole thing's
That is the Redemption 9-year high rye bourbon.
Okay.
Barrel straight.
Wow.
You destroyed the cap of.
No, he
So-
destroyed the cap.
Well, okay. So what actually happened was,
And then he stabbed himself.
what happened was,
Yeah.
I bought it at a store and I went to go put it on the shelf, and I look over and the top of it was coming off, and I was like, oh, the cork's coming out. That's awesome. And then I was like, well, since it's open, I might as well drink it. And so now here's some of the top, and there's the cork, and
The cork was in there.
There's
Let me
the
tell
lid.
you.
Yeah.
I got it out.
I saw you do it.
So
I fixed it.
Jim, David, you want to grab your samples?
Oh, sure.
Let's do it.
So sorry, Steve, you got left out on this one.
That's fine. I'm not at that level. It's all good.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of hope, like I said, we'll start with the light one. But on some level, like I hope that Amazon can do it, because I think if more people had access to certain bourbon, then that would curb the price of the secondary. But then again,
You work so hard for this. You want me to pour it?
yes, please. So we worked hard on it, honey.
No, I fixed it.
You guys heard that the secondary market got shut down, right?
Only on Facebook.
Well, that was pretty much.
On Facebook it did?
Yeah, all. There's still some secondary sites on Facebook, but for the most part, they all got shut down. Like they're in process of shutting them all down.
Wow.
This is not wax. This is plastic.
I don't know.
It's not wax.
I didn't make the bottle. It's like rubber. Literally like rubber.
Anywho.
Anyway,
They're not makers.
you guys pour the light sample?
Yep.
Yes.
What do you think of the nose? Jim, I know for sure you've had this one before. David, I don't think you have. I think you said you didn't have it, which is why I threw it in there.
Oh, okay.
You having fun?
Yes, leave me alone. Go talk. I'm fixing the bottle. It will never be a problem again.
What do you think of the nose? And if you don't like it, you don't like it. So don't feel bad. But
There's a lot of ethanol on the nose that I'm getting.
Which one is the light one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I want to
I'm
taste
getting
it. 'Cause
major cherry. I get the ethanol, but it's like super cherry.
yeah,
that would make sense.
that's the light bottle, not the dark bottle, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Lots of cherry.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty much taken control of it. And the ethanol, I'm not getting much else from that. Yeah, I'm not getting any vanilla, although I do have a cold. So
That's all I got is ethanol. Like, I think I need to pour a little more in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to dig through the ethanol a little bit, and that just
Pour it down here.
yeah, maybe a little chocolate, but major cherry though.
Dave, you get anything else?
I get a little
Whew.
a lot of ethanol. Man, it's almost burning the nose, to be honest with you. This maybe I'm just way off.
No, you're right on. You're spot on, actually.
Breathe slow and deep.
I beg your pardon.
You're going to feel a slight pinch or slight pressure. There you go.
If you feel my hands on your shoulder, you'll know to run.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Jim, tastes familiar?
Yep. Yeah. It's really nice.
Familiar.
What would
Was
you
that
say?
David?
My wheelhouse.
You?
It definitely doesn't taste familiar. I definitely get that ethanol on the palate. It's pretty coating, to be honest with you. It's almost like a cough syrup coating. Not coating, but it's coating the mouth,
Right.
the mouth like a cough syrup almost.
Corey, you would be incorrect, sir.
Nope.
So, David, like I said, I threw this in there because I'm pretty sure you said you haven't had it before. And Jim, I know for a fact you have because you drank it not that long ago.
Yeah, I would go
I've been
with cough
spying on you.
syrup. I do not like this bottle.
Really?
This is awful.
I like it. I enjoy it.
I know what I think it is, but I don't remember drinking this recently.
The proof's there. Nothing. Is.
Yeah, the proof.
Yeah.
It tastes like about 110, maybe.
All you.
Yeah.
Not my
I think
favorite.
we're 120 plus.
What do you think, Jim? Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. Yep, I like it a lot. I mean, if I had to take a guess, I'd say Stag Junior.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
I am really wondering if
Apparently that's a no.
your bottle mixed up or something.
No.
So I got to be honest with you, Kyle. I've had Stag Junior before. If this is Stag Junior, this does not taste like any Stag.
No, it's not Stag Junior.
It's not Stag Junior either.
I will drink Stag Junior.
Moose, yes. Aaron went to grab Booker's.
Hell yeah.
So
That tastes bleh.
This is a Booker's?
No,
Hey, holy shit. No way.
That shit's nasty.
it is not nasty. You take it back.
I will not. It is not my favorite distillery.
So definitely on the nose after you go in for a second, you definitely get a little bit more of that caramel, that butterscotch. The ethanol kind of goes away, but I guess after it coats your tongue the first time, it happens.
It's so much better.
Jim,
Yo.
do you have a second? Do you have another glass?
Yeah.
Pour that second sample in there.
You get your samples mixed up.
I
Well,
swear.
I've got more of that light color sample that you sent.
Yeah, that's what we should be drinking on.
Yeah, I know. That's
Oh, okay. Try pouring the dark one.
the dark. I've got it poured right here.
Oh,
Oh, okay. And I was gonna say that should be noticeably darker in your glass.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty.
Okay. All right. So we're good
Okay.
then. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, for sure.
So what do you think of the light one then? Jim, do you like it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'd say I do. I mean, to me, like I said, I've got a cold, but I'm not that stuffed up or anything. I get tons of cherry on it,
I wish I got the cherry.
and that's pretty much it. I'm not getting a lot of complexity, but the proof is it seems north of 115, so it's a pretty high proof. That's what I get out of it, and
Drink
super cherry. What's that?
It's not this, is it?
No,
No, it's definitely not.
Okay.
No bananas.
David, what do you think? Do you like it?
Let me try
No.
a sip here.
Don't let me influence you. Me
I
saying
did
it
not.
doesn't mean anything.
I did not like the first sip. The first sip was very mouth coating, very cough syrup, ethanol forward.
I'm gonna try it again. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Steve, do you have any guesses?
No clue. A couple of them that they covered would have been ones that I kind of would have thought, just with the heavy ethanol, cherry, and like that. The 1792 full proof that Corey mentioned, Steak Junior. I kind of get some of that in there,
Right.
but beyond that, I don't.
This is not one I would.
Don't freaking say it's chicken cock.
No, you would be not drinking it. You would be spitting it.
I would not do that to you.
Okay. All right.
It's 1776 pepper rye, isn't it?
No, he'd
No.
be spitting that too.
It's not a rye.
No.
Dark meat chicken Willett Estate? No, it is not. Pete McNeil, Clyde Mays? No, it is not.
And it's not
Lewis
Bellmead.
Keene Bellmead? Negative. Moose Willett? No. Elder? No.
Okay, go after this. You guys hit a different distillery.
It doesn't taste like anything I've ever
Not
had
Wet
before.
Dog.
So
So,
we were talking about
No, it is bourbon.
it is bourbon.
it's
It
not
is
Jaeger.
from a very prominent distillery,
It is.
a
And
very
that is not
overhyped distillery.
not worth having. Not Texas. No, it is not.
It's a prominent distillery, but it's overhyped.
Yes.
And I tasted it again. Yes, Corey, for science. And guess what? It still sucked.
Negative.
Um,
That's for you.
Distillery, but overhyped. The obvious choice for distillery there is Buffalo Trace.
Ding 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 ding.
I mean, they make a lot of good stuff, but they're wildly overhyped for what it is. For most of the stuff that's overhyped.
is this blend straight from the barrel?
No, I actually like
No
it.
way.
No.
I'll
I've
drink
never
it.
had blend straight from the barrel, but
Okay, so
It is way high. It drinks like 150 proof.
the
Bottles I've
I
had.
like it.
Stag Junior guess starts to make some sense then, being Buffalo Trace with
Right.
that cherry note.
That's what I'm getting. That's why I thought it was. I can't get the proof on it. I'm thinking it's north of 115, and that's why I went to it. I mean, it reminds me a lot of the Eagle Rare, but it just seems a little.
So it is a weeded mash bill.
Oh
Is
shit!
that a 107 store pick?
It's roughly what's the proof on here?
Oh wait,
100
it is. Oh, shit.
Seriously?
Yes.
tasted like awful.
It's Weller 107. Seriously.
Yes.
Mhm.
Seriously.
Well, that's good to know.
Don't buy it.
I have to tell you, the next one I smelled.
David, Jim doesn't believe me.
Yeah. No, mine's a lot different than this. Mine's a barrel pick though.
Oh, it's probably a whole lot better. Thank God.
David, save some of that because you're gonna get this barrel pick 107 tomorrow, along with that William Rue Weather. Taste them side by side. You're gonna see a big difference.
I will be very interested to hear what you think of the decades that I sent over.
William
I'll be sending over the revival too.
The William Rue, I can't even say the stupid thing, is actually very good.
It's beyond very good.
Oh, the BTAC? Hell yeah.
It's
Very
one of the
good.
best.
That's
I drink
fantastic.
Now, however, I say one of the best. That dark sample that you guys have.
I want to
Oh
taste
no.
finish that. Is this
Shit.
good?
It's the Weller.
Yeah, no, I'm not drinking that. It's this one.
Yes.
I'm not gonna. Hey, more faith.
Ooh. Yeah, this one is markedly better, Kyle.
Yeah.
And it's probably 10-star, but you know.
This one is, to me, one of the best bourbons I've had.
Ooh, that's probably saying something.
Oh, that's
Smells beautiful.
so it's in like the George T. Stagg territory.
To me, yes. Yep.
But it's not George
Oh,
T.
this is
Stagg.
very good.
That's good shit, right?
I've never had this before.
Oh, it's delicious.
Where do we get more?
Oh, why do I think this is
So
like Clyde May's cask strength or something?
No, because I didn't have that bottle when I poured these.
So if only I knew, I could have actually sampled the first one with you.
This smells like it might quite possibly be barrel proof.
It could be.
I would say that.
Steve, put your phone number in the private chat, not the YouTube comments, our chat.
Okay.
So David and I were talking, and he said, "Man, I smelled that dark bottle sample, and he said it smells freaking delicious." He said, "Hopefully it doesn't cost a lot because I'm gonna have to go out and buy one." I said, "Well, good news for you is you probably can't find it." So,
Wow.
Where did you get this?
I'm saving you money, David. I'm saving you
And
money.
Get
And
another
then I
bottle.
said, well, shit,
Where'd you get it?
You got to know people.
Yeah, well,
you got to know people.
you just have to ask the right person
It's true.
and be cute. Is that the bottle I got you? That's not the bottle I got you. Because if that's the
No.
bottle I got you, that tastes like crap.
So, what do you guys get on the nose?
I have to say, I wonder if you somehow got a bad bottle of 107.
I don't know, but I won't drink that again. At least
So,
not that bottle.
I think this bottle maybe. I had a bottle of 107 that.
Did you screw this bottle up?
No. The sticker came off of it. So I'm wondering if that was this one because it's got like a little, like some marking and that's actually glue on there. So I'm wondering if that's a single barrel.
Bad. Who picked that?
I don't know.
Can we
Yeah, I see what you mean on the side there, but between the labels, where it's like there was something there before,
Yeah.
where maybe it was a store pick and it just wasn't a good pick.
It was a
Because
god awful one.
I have all my my Weller and stuff and actually a Weller box case thing.
Yep.
And I went to go get one out the other day. The sticker was like all mangled sitting on top of it. And I was like, oh, well, all right. Oh, well.
Take a look at what DH Silv just said.
I could just take a picture. It would be a whole lot faster than trying to text, especially during a live.
This smells really good, Kyle.
It is really, taste it. It is awesome.
That one?
That one. That
one?
wonder if you got a bad batch.
DH Silver, cheers to that. That shit was gross.
I mean, I've got the half bottle sample of 107. I've actually got. He's in the chat right now, who will be bringing me a bottle of 107 in a couple of weeks. That he picked up a couple of bottles that I can't get. I picked up a couple bottles that he can't get, and we're swapping them when he passes through town in a couple of weeks. And 107 is going to be one of them. So,
Jacob Clark in the chat said he actually drain poured one of his OWA store picks.
Wow.
You know, and that's the thing, is that store picks can be good, but if you get somebody that's picking it that has really weird taste, what the hell do you do?
Run and hide.
I don't know. Do you follow? If you follow Rot Gut Review, they had a Wyoming store pick that was bad enough that the store was offering refunds after you bought a bottle.
I love it.
Wow.
I need a bottle of that for the show.
Wow.
That was.
Get me a bottle of that.
I'll check with Ed and see if we can track down a spare bottle. If not, the only reason he might want to hold on to it is I think it might still be their reigning champ for the worst whiskey they've had.
I love it. I want to do the worst whiskeys, and I want to make a show of the worst whiskeys blind. So
check with Ed. See if you can get something set up for a joint stream or something, because they do on Wednesday, and I'll get Kyle.
I love it.
On Wednesdays they do the worst whiskey watch Wednesday, and they have actually done like tournament brackets in March for March badness.
That's crazy.
That the worst whiskeys they can find do head to head in a bracket and see which one's just really completely awful.
I really like this.
Jim, you are getting all up in that thing, man. What do you get?
So it's the aroma doesn't jump out at you. It's kind of tight, but it's complex. I'm trying to pick it apart. I'm getting like leather and tobacco. I'm getting quite a bit of that. There's a saltiness behind it as well. I could just sit down and smell this thing for about an hour.
It's got some oak to it.
What do you think, David?
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know what this is, but I really wish this wasn't hard to find, because I would go buy a case of it. This is fantastic.
That's Luke.
It's just got that. It's just got those just wonderful. It almost tastes like a wheated bourbon, and I don't know whether it is or not. So I could have egg on my face, but this tastes like a wheated bourbon that is just really, really good. This tastes like. So a friend of mine had an old Weller 12 that was bottled at Stitzel back in the day.
It's an old bottle.
And I tried it, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, really, really good.
This is really good.
Jim's going in.
This is.
I've been in, and I want to drop in the bottle and live there.
Oh, God.
Kyle, I don't know what you got here, but this is really good. I'm having the same reaction that you had to Joseph Magnus, George.
Is it Jesus juice?
This is Jesus juice.
This is up there with Booker's. I'll give it that.
I'm just sitting here watching Jim. If this is like chicken cock, I'm gonna laugh.
That's high praise.
No, it's nothing like that.
I like that, Jason. I hope it is.
Oh, this is really good.
Jim, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's really good. After that 107, I'm kind of second guessing. It seems like a really high proof, like 115 and above.
You're pretty close.
Uh-huh.
It's barrel proof.
It's got some nice oiliness to it. Coats the tongue well. I'm getting a lot of those fruit, citrus, some like orange oil type. There's the finish is really long. It just keeps going.
Yeah,
this has to be a weeder. It tastes like a weeder.
You're wrong.
No.
Sorry, David.
What are you gonna do?
This is one of those that I could just sit down with a glass of it for like 2 hours and just enjoy it and pick it apart. Moose, no, it is not George T. Stagg.
No, definitely not.
I'm sorry, it's not Magnus either.
Dramman's not Magnus.
Oh, I would have
It is
loved if it had been
Absolutely not a
Magnus.
107. Who said
Go
that?
back to Jim.
Someone just said that.
A different 107? No.
Jason, no, it is not a 107. Bad for something.
That would be funny though.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is MGP. I don't think this is.
It does come across a little bit like a finished product.
Drayman sounds orange. Sounds like MGP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that.
So would I venture to guess to say that both of you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Like it a lot? Like it a little?
Oh, like it a lot. Yeah.
You know, I know how Joseph Magnus is priced at $100. I would definitely pay $100 or more for this bottle.
I would. Yeah. Absolutely.
I would be in that 120 to 150 range.
I love how everyone's guessing.
Jim, would you put this up there close to the T Stag?
I don't think I would. The George T. Stagg, no, but it's like the next level down for sure. Maybe I would. Pretty close.
Yeah, close.
I just don't seem to get the complexity off of this that I do with the Stagg.
This is really good, but I still like Booker's better.
I can't wait to see what this is.
You want to see?
Yeah. Show me what it is.
10-year Blonde Brothers cask strength.
Wow.
Old Fangled
Man.
Nodder bourbon. And it is MGP. And they are
Man.
freaking phenomenal.
Where did you get it?
Man.
I got this. I actually got lucked out on 2 of them. I got one from Barrels and Brews, and I got another one from Elixir.
It's still really good.
So
Why get one when you can have 2, right?
that's right. And actually, I got them both on the same day, probably because that was delivery day. But I lucked out.
What's the proof on that?
118.7.
118.7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
I enjoy it
That's
a lot.
fantastic.
Still like Booker's better.
I wish it had a little more proof on it, but what's that, Steve?
Question that I have for you. The ancient age episode recently that Aaron is chuckling about. So the question that I have you looked at what the difference in the glassware is?
Good point.
That
Mm-mm.
so here was and I commented on the video, but here was the thing that I noticed, that when Erin poured those, for both of you, she poured the one of them in, I'm not sure what that glass is called because I've actually been looking for them and I was going to ask you that.
The Neat Taster.
Mhm.
You can get them from Bourbon Blind. They have them available.
Okay. I honestly wasn't sure. I tried looking and I wasn't finding anything.
I really
the
like
other one in the Glencairn, and I was trying to figure out how much of a difference that part of what you were expecting it to be 2 different bourbons, and how much of a difference did the fact that it was in those different glasses, that normally you have what you know is the same bourbon in 2 glasses, how much that was messing with your head in terms of the aroma and flavor delivery and everything like that.
I don't know. I've also wondered like how much of it was in our head, expecting it to be 2 different bourbons.
I know part of it was in your head, but if it was just in your head, I would have expected you one to like the Neat Taster better, and the other one you'd have a decent chance that the other one would like the one in the Glencairn a little bit better.
Well, also, the one of those bottles was just opened.
And the other one had been open
one
for a
had
while.
been open for a while, and they threw me for a loop. I really wish I had read the bottles a little more closely. Still irritated with myself about that one, but
To be honest, between the brand new, never been open bottle and it's been oxidized a little bit, mixed with the different profiles coming off of the glasses.
The neat taster, you really do get a better smell out of the glasses, I think. I find that these ones, you smell more ethanol. I know that they're not supposed to smell the ethanol. It's supposed to somehow keep it.
You do.
But I hate these glasses. I'm not going to lie. I much
I like
rather,
these.
these ones I really like. And then these aren't our neat tasters. We have
Cask
our neat
tasters.
tasters, I think, are the best for smelling and for tasting and for everything.
I like
need to get me a couple of those because I've got a couple of like the neat glasses, the little short ones.
It's got like a little thing,
really wide funnel on the side that they're too hard to drink from in terms of enjoyment. And they just, and they just don't work right for me. But these, I think I'm going to need to get a couple of to test head to head against Glencairn and Stazzle.
It's an
And
interesting proposition.
I like the cask taster style, just because for the higher proof stuff, it really does seem
it opens
to
it up.
kind of keep it not so ethanol forward.
Yep.
David, what'd you go grab? Anything good?
Pringles.
I have Pringles #1.
Oh,
To clear the palate a little bit.
I didn't
could-
catch it.
Definitely use some Pringles.
Aaron, I hate you. I'm kidding.
It's okay.
But no, I had to clear the palate a little bit. But man, that
Good way to clear the palate.
so the Blonde Brothers 10-year cask strength. That's boy. It sure as heck tastes like the old Weller 12 from Stitzel that I had. I would drink that every day. Oh,
It's really good.
Jim, what are you working on up there, buddy? You still got the samples going?
I still have those samples, and I actually poured my own Weller at 107 Antique, and it's a lot different. And I have some Eagle Rare. I've got, 4 glasses going here. So, whatever.
Right?
Just don't get it mixed up.
I just want one of my Four Roses store picks.
What recipe?
OESV 57.1.
I got a Liquor Barn OESV.
Mine's Lunds and Byerly's.
It's what?
Lunds and Byerly's. It's a
Lunds and Barley's.
Byerly's.
Byerly's? What's a Byerly?
It's a local grocery store chain that also has liquor stores attached.
Holy shit, that's awesome. I've got a Edgewater Liquors OESV.
We're all drinking OESB.
Yeah, that was.
It was almost like it was planned.
This earlier, Aaron, we had the test stream a little bit earlier where we were checking the technology out and had the discussion, and everybody tracked down their Four Roses picks.
David, what do you got there?
well, I've got an OBSQ.
I love the Q yeast. It doesn't get enough attention.
It's, so this is a 12.2 proof, barrel proof.
120?
112
Oh, 112. Okay.
from Big Red Liquors here in Indianapolis.
I think the highest proof Four Roses I have is 123 proof. There it is. Nice.
So what are we streaming this on? Bourbon Buddies want to know.
StreamYard.
It's probably going to be the new replacement for Google Hangouts for most of the streamers by the looks of it.
I like it. I paid for the upgraded part. It's like $20 a month, but I like it.
If you're doing streams semi-regularly with guests, it's probably going to be the replacement for Google Hangouts by the sound of things.
No, we're not doing pot still tonight. That's not happening.
You
You have to put a super chat for like $30 before.
At first, I thought you were saying no to StreamYard, and I'm like, wait, what?
No.
Well, pot still. Oh,
Nope.
Will it pot still? Erin says she loves it.
Nope. If
She
you wanna-
wants some.
I've got to be honest. I actually just had pot still on Saturday,
I'm sorry.
and it's okay.
Some people like it, man.
If you want to lick a dog that is rolled in the trash can, you can go ahead and drink that all day long. It's all I
I said it's okay, not great.
Okay is giving it a lot of praise, and that is wait. I would say wet dog rolled in trash can.
And that dip does nutsack in it.
What is it?
And then dipped his nutsack in it.
Ooh. Man.
So
I'm not planning on buying a bottle.
The bottle's beautiful. If someone
the
would
bottle's
make juice for me, I would. Hey, yeah, ham sandwich. Now I could do that one. That is the double
barreled
ASW. It is called Duality, and it literally tastes like a smoked sandwich. I would much rather do that one than
I think Jim's got some of that.
Still.
So, which one is it?
Duality by ASW.
I don't.
One from Atlanta.
It's out of Atlanta.
Yeah, no, I've got some of their product. I've got the Resurgence, and I've got is it Unicorn? Or no, Eunice. And let me, hold on.
So what do you guys think of, speaking of smaller distilleries, what do you think of some of these smaller distilleries that are, still charging $60, $80, $100 for a 2-year?
100 and what did
product?
we buy? We bought something that was like, we're like, oh yeah, we'll get a bottle. Oh, we already said we would take it. Here's the card.
It was like $130 or something.
150.
There's a lot of them that are massively overcharging for stuff that isn't all that good yet.
It will be good.
It might be good if you give it about another 3-4 years in a barrel.
Yeah.
The problem is they have to cover their expenses. It's a startup business. They've got so many expenses. They're trying to make a living, and the only way they can generate income is from the bottles that they're producing.
Oh yeah.
And that's the biggest beef that I have with all these micro distillers. Believe me, I love those guys. I distill myself, so I totally get it. But at the end of the day, when you can buy a bottle for $21 that blows theirs away, it's hard to justify it.
Totally.
So I was actually talking. Go ahead, David. I got to pull something up anyway.
Oh no, I'd like to go ahead and sign up for a bottle of the Jim quality bourbon. I'd like to be first in line.
Okay, I can send you something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sucks, but
I think that should be your marketing tagline. It sucks. Buy it.
There you go.
So I was actually talking to a master distiller earlier today on Facebook, and we were talking about that. And originally it started with why sometimes like rye seems to be more expensive than bourbon, just in general. So the actual cost of the rye is more, and the cost of or the amount of sugar basically that you get out of rye is less than corn. And obviously sugar turns to alcohol. Alcohol is money. But yeah, he was talking about they did. He said they usually do 53-gallon barrels at 2.5 years, and then a couple 30-gallon barrels at about 2 years. He says, I don't use 30s anymore due to cost, but I have enough of them filled to blend in for the other about another year. But they're not doing. He said the goal is to about 3 or 4 years on the rye as a minimum, and that's what they're going for. So like Jim said, they have to cover costs and everything else.
The way that you do that properly is you distill things like gin and rum and vodka that you can sell
quickly
right away.
Yeah, but those don't have the market that bourbon does. That's the issue. I mean, most of them do that. They sell white spirits. They'll do a vodka, they'll do a gin, or they'll do White Lightning or moonshine, or whatever they want to call it, White Dog. But those just don't simply have the market that bourbon does.
So, no, I mean, I agree. You know what I mean? Some people do. I mean, it's no one. I don't think very many people, at least I hope not, go into the distilling business expecting to, make profit on day one. It's just not.
Right. And actually, I have a friend who runs a distillery here in Minnesota, and he was just about at the point of just calling it quits, shutting down, declaring bankruptcy on the business. And he brought the lawyer and the accountant in, and just because he was having a hard time meeting some of the expenses, this, that, and the other thing. And they looked at how much inventory he had and basically said, we can get you a business loan in a heartbeat with good payment terms and good interest rate that will keep you covered for a decade, because you owe $150,000 on everything right now, and you've got probably $250,000 in inventory sitting over here.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that as collateral. And ever since he did that, he's such a happier person. Because he is so much less stressed out. His first couple of batches of bourbon really weren't where he wanted them to be. The rye is really good. The bourbon's just too young. It's a problem that upper Midwest bourbons have, that they need more time in order to get rid of some of the green notes from the wood and the distillate. And the fact that he got that loan and everything to pay off the creditors that were on him basically calmed things down enough that he got to the point that he's trying to figure out a way that he can essentially recall some of the earlier batches of bourbon, so he can replace it with stuff that has an extra year and a half, because that's actually turning to be pretty good.
So, I don't know where I was going with that.
Sorry, didn't mean to derail you.
We were talking about small distillery. Oh, I was up at what's the name of it?
You've been gone so much.
It was in Owensboro, Kentucky. It's pretty much the only distillery up there, and they have a patented process that basically they age it for at least 1 year and 1 day, because that's what they have to have to say it was aged in Kentucky. That's Kentucky law. And then they basically have they look like Rosie machines from like the Jetsons. Like they have the bourbon in there, and then a bunch of oak staves, and they use like ultrasonic waves to do it. And I will say, when I was up there, I went into a liquor store and I saw it, OZ Tyler. I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, aged at least 1 month and 1 day. I'm out. Like, it's super young. I'm not interested, whatever. And we went and did a tour over there. And of course, at the end of the tour, you get to taste it. And I got to say, it did not taste like, it didn't have that super
young taste,
grainy, or the barrel taste, or the just that super green, or like standing in the cornfield type taste. So I was super impressed with it. Jennifer, yes, OZ Tyler. So anyway, though, I mean, I guess there is some things that you can do to help it out. I talked to the master distiller while I was there, and he was saying that he thinks it is going to be some diminishing returns. Eventually, they're going to hope to get at least some 3 to 4 year stock built up, and then he said they probably won't be doing that anymore. So just for diminishing returns, you're not going to put a 4-year bourbon in there, and then 12 hours later, you're not going to have like a 10-hour or like a 10-year bourbon.
No.
But when it's super young, you can get that little bit out of it. So.
You still end up with a lot of sharp notes that are going to be in there, that the only thing that gets rid of those is actual time.
Yes. Yep. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it wasn't complex or anything like that, but I mean, at least it didn't have that, super young crap taste to it. Yeah. So.
And that's the issue that I have with ASW. So I grabbed theirs. I got their Resurgence, their Fiddler Unison.
Yep.
We've had that.
and the Georgia Heartwood.
Haven't
Which-
had that one.
That I think, yeah, this is a cask strength.
Hmm. What's
Um, it's 116.
Probably like it.
It's going to be cask strength are really close.
But they all generally taste young to me. The Resurgence in particular. I mean, it's,
Really?
yeah, I mean, I can smell that and tell you what it is. It's just a very, and don't get me wrong, I like what they're doing. I think, I mean, they're grain to glass. I think they're really cool people. I like their operation, and that's why I like to get their stuff and support them.
So they may have their new stuff is maybe about 2.5 years.
Oh, great.
They're hoping to get at least 3 to 4 year stock built up. If you know what I'm saying, Jim.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm super excited for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they've got to keep the lights going, right? So they need to sell something, but I think their recipes, I think what they're producing is exceptional, and if they can get the right amount of age on it, and it's not going to take much, it's really good. And I think of all other than New Riff that I think is exceptional, these guys I think are by far my
I
favorite.
really like Resurgence. I think it drinks way better than a 2-year-old bourbon, or I guess it's a rye. It's not really a bourbon.
But, so one of the sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say definitely a distinct flavor though. You can pick that one out of a lineup in a mile long.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So one of the things that they do is they really focus on the ingredients and paying. They don't mind paying for top quality ingredients. Where like the bottles that they use may be a lot cheaper bottles.
Mm-hmm.
To help save costs there. But like you said, they're doing some really cool stuff, and I'm excited to see what it needs. All ASW needs is time to turn into something special. I agree, man.
Totally agree with that.
Totally.
Yep, they're one of the craft distilleries that I really hope
sees it through the long.
They make it. I want them to make it big, but not too big, because I still want to be able to get it. But
That's always the problem.
Well,
That's right.
The Resurgence, I think their mash bill, it's a really unique mash bill because it's 100% rye, and they use some chocolate rye in it, which gives it a unique flavor. Not much of it.
Barley.
But I think they designed the mash bill so that it could be consumed young, because it is, and still have some interesting notes to it, which I think is absolutely great. They expect it to be drank young, and it'll be interesting to see, if it aged for 4 or 5 years, how it would taste. I think it would be absolutely phenomenal.
And I got to give them props for actually putting out their own stuff. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Absolutely.
I mean, I understand both sides of it. Like you look at the OKI, which turned into New Riff. You know what I mean? They said, they're putting out MGP, and then by the time their stuff is ready, you know what I mean? Like they changed the whole label, they changed everything. Like on the sorry, honey, the Blom Brothers, it says Notter Bourbon, and that's actually like not our bourbon.
Not our bourbon.
And it even says the oldest straight bourbon whiskey we never distilled.
So the thing is that MGP makes some really freaking good whiskeys.
No doubt.
And anybody that's getting MGP whiskey and doing, anything with it and then bottling it and selling it, it's probably going to be worth trying. Just don't lie to me about where you're getting it from. And these guys are absolutely open and upfront about what they're doing. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what I like about these guys is you can tell they love the art of distilling. They're very much into that, and I'm into that myself. So I really appreciate that. I have nothing against a company that just wants to buy an MGB product, blend it, like High West does, and put out something that's really good. No problem with that at all. That's just a different business model. These guys are artists, and they have an affinity for something that I do, and that's what I appreciate.
Have you, Jim? You mentioned the 3 that you have. Have you had Duality yet?
No, I haven't had their duality.
I
No.
have to send you a sample. It tastes like a smoked sandwich, a smoked ham sandwich, I might add. But
Yeah, they used a peated mold in that, didn't they?
they did.
Yeah.
So Moose said, why don't we see more smoked peated bourbon? That's because peat is gross. That's why.
You can only tolerate a small smidgen of duality. It's really it's really
If
good,
you're
but
used to like peated scotches, you probably won't even notice the smoke in it. Personally, it's just about my upper tier limit of how much peat I can handle, which isn't much at all, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Kyle, I'll send you a sample of Lefroy 10-year. That was the first scotch I ever sampled.
That's brave.
Yeah, that was
my bottle of Ardbeg 10.
I think mine was the Lefroy 10-year at a bar, and
it didn't go
taste
so well.
anything the rest of the night.
literally,
It was interesting.
like it ruined my whole steak dinner and everything, man.
I tasted engine oil.
What do you know my dad drink? My dad drinks Glenlivet a lot.
Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, Glenmorangie.
Glenfiddich and
Glenlivet isn't bad. You get the 12-year because it's a Highland Scotch, so you get a lot of fruit flavor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not peated, and if they are, I mean, it's super small.
I've been drinking it way too many years. My dad drinks Scotch, and I can't even tell you what it is. I've been drinking it forever, and it's like, this is gross. Why am I tasting this again? Because I don't know any better.
Chad said he has an Octomore that tastes like stinky cheese and beef jerky.
It smells like bark.
Oh.
Way to sell it there.
It's actually probably a pretty good combo, to be honest.
Yeah, at first I was like, "Oh, that doesn't sound." I was like, "Well, I mean, it's it's meat and cheese, but
if you like peat."
Yeah, I can't do it, man. I just can't do it.
No.
So
Moose 76 agrees.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's okay. This is America. You're free to be wrong. So,
Everyone's got an opinion.
So anyway, you guys have anything you want to add? We're been on almost an hour and a half now.
Hey, it's a true Bourbon Blind live chat. If we don't go over, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, it's not a good chat. And we still have how many people? Does it say how many people in the chat we have?
31.
Hey, see, like our
31 on.
Our people.
Thumbs up, people.
Get a life. Go do something productive with your life.
Drink more bourbon.
Other than sitting, 5 people watch around, sitting around getting hammered.
Well, no, I have to tell you, just
11 o'clock on a Friday. Who cares?
Right. But last week I could not get into my I literally killed my Google Pay. I still haven't gotten into it yet. I can't remember the password, and I put in the chat that I was like, I'm trying to super chat them and I can't do it. And you all came to my rescue. So thank you, anyone that super chatted last Friday. Or I think it was actually Saturday.
I was
that
useless.
Made my night. I laughed. It was Friday night. It was a Friday.
It was Friday.
Saturday, you were useless. I laughed so loud. My kids refused to go to bed. They're like, "Oh, Daddy's on TV," and I'm like, "Yes, your father's on TV. Shush, go away. I'm working." And I have to thank every single one of you that came to my aid with the super chats. That made my night.
I was totally useless before 2 p.m. all day.
I love it.
Totally
I love
useless.
it.
Can I have that pretty cat one?
Oh, the one that you haven't destroyed yet. So here's another one. We'll see how he does with this.
The first one wasn't my fault. I literally went to go put it on the shelf, and the top came off. It wasn't my choice.
How's your finger?
How are you holding that bottle that the top came off?
I was probably putting it on the shelf like this.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be why.
Rookie mistake, but.
And who taught you how to use a knife?
In my defense, I mean, usually when I come home from work, I have cases of whiskey to go put away, so they have to fit in and out of the case box somehow.
Must be rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many bottles can you store at your office?
He walks in, it's playing It's a Hard Knock Life.
What, David?
I said he walks in, it's playing It's a Hard Knock Life for Kyle.
That's right.
I'm gonna take a picture of your closet at work one of these days.
So I don't have it. Most of it's here now. I
Oh.
rearranged it. So I don't know exactly how to get into this cap. Would you stop? I got this.
Okay, so someone call 911 and have it ready to hit the button.
It's probably best for you to do that right now, Aaron, because you're closer.
This is true.
Oh, please.
Well, you stabbed yourself.
You already stabbed yourself once in the middle of this chat. I had to rescue you.
So I got this. Anyway, hold on. So I grabbed this. Has anyone tried this?
Never heard of it.
No.
It just came into my local liquor store, and I was like,
really
that's a
pretty bottle.
really pretty bottle.
I almost bought this actually for you.
So,
Do you want me to get into it?
sure, honey. Don't stab yourself.
There we go.
Why do you need a knife when you can just use your nail?
Because I don't have nails?
Maybe a knife will work.
Oh.
Hey, I got half of it. Look, I really did. I got into it, and then I realized I'm getting waxed.
I didn't tell you this, Aaron. He already cut that part.
That's right.
Don't what?
I already cut that part. You are so going to break something.
Damn, girl.
Like my face or something. Jeez.
Please. You know, I had to rescue you a minute ago, so don't start.
So what's up with Chad? We haven't seen Chad around in a while.
Chad, which one? Chad Holly?
Chad Holly's in the
One-
chat right now.
The Chad on and the Patreon Chad.
Chad Holly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad Hall. Yeah, yeah,
He's in the chat right now. I just
He's
saw
in
him
the
a
chat
second
right now.
ago.
I think he said he was on an airplane tonight or something.
Oh,
Go
tell
away.
him what's up.
I am
Waxing the
not. Would
bourbon.
you trust me? For the love of
Would
God. I just
Stop. You're going to take the whole thing off.
yes.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
It was
Apparently I'm
pretty.
not doing it right.
It was
But
like
you
a-
can't even open the damn bottle.
It was like a two-tone colored gold and
it's called
Condom.
gold.
It's called rose gold. The color's called rose gold.
It was pretty. She ruined it.
I got a whiskey without stabbing myself.
Well, what's the fun in that?
I don't like blood in my whiskey.
Chad, is Chad still in his dry period?
No, I think he's drinking again. Chad, are you still
Ooh.
drinking or are you not drinking? Let us know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Did
I
you want to
think he's drinking right now. I mean, maybe not like right now. He's on an airplane. Well, maybe.
No, Moose, it's not domestic violence yet. I put down the knife.
She's dangerous, man. She threatens me.
Did you guys want to go back to the questions we were discussing earlier? Because we kind of bypassed question 3 entirely.
Oh, we had questions? Oh, yeah, you have
We
this
did.
like whole little chat thing going on.
So continuing on prices, how do we discern others? How do we discern other than watching reviews of people what new bourbons to try, especially from smaller distilleries?
When the price is, upwards of 70, 80 bucks for a 2-year-old bourbon. That's a hard one.
I'll say for me, I wait until I find some. If it's something I've never heard of, I wait until I find somebody that's reviewed it, and
Trust.
whether they like it or not, I can usually get some basic idea of what I'm in for. And a lot of the people that do the reviews, I at least have some concept of, I generally agree with this person, or, oh, they don't like this note, but I'm okay with that, so I'm going to give it a try.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah, I read a review the other day where he got a lot of cherry on something and he didn't like that. And I was like, dude, I'm all in on that. Like,
Oh, absolutely. but that's the thing is that, oh, hey, look, you've gone there and you've done the review, and one of you likes it, the other one doesn't. But here's the kind of notes that you're getting out of it that I can then go and say, oh, hey, most of the time when Kyle likes something, I like it, I'm going to give it a try. Most of the time when Jim hates it, I can't stand it, I'm not going anywhere near it. And that's kind of the way I tend to play it, that, just because, 4 out of 5 reviewers give it good notes, my question is, who are those reviewers? Have I agreed with them in their reviews in the past?
what do you think, Jim? How do you decide whether to get a new bottle or something from a small distillery, especially that?
Yeah, I wait till it goes down to $30 and then I buy it.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean, there's, I agree with Steve. You have to listen to people that that drink a lot of bourbon. I don't know, maybe you do every now and then, Kyle. And yeah, and I have a sense for what you like, that type of thing, and what people are saying about it, and listen overall to what you're hearing, and then making a decision. But if it's a 2-year-old bourbon to pay $60 or $80, I mean, man, that's just tough. I like uniqueness, but also I'm a hedonist, so for $60, I expect to get X amount of pleasure, just not something unique, because you could take a bourbon and roll some pickled frog legs in it, and it's going to be unique, but it doesn't mean you're going to like it.
Right. Speaking of unique, this is definitely unique.
Yeah, this is weird. I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. I took a sip of it and I thought it was rye, and it's 100 proof, which, that's a start. It's 70% corn, 25% rye, and 5% barley, but it's drinking like rye. It is.
But it is distilled in Nashville. So they're doing it at their own distillery. Pennington Distilling Company.
I would, if drinking this, I would say this tastes like Resurgence. I mean, I know you're talking about them. Yeah. Like it has got all of that ryeness in it. And I don't know.
I don't get the ryeness from the Resurgence.
Really? You don't get the pumpernickel bread?
No.
It says aged at least 4 years.
Huh. This tastes just like rye.
I get straight up rye bread on
pumpernickel bread, like a
bread.
Dark. No, well, pumpernickel is a rye bread. It's the dark.
I understand what you're saying about the pumpernickel. I mean, I get a lot of chocolate from their chocolate malt.
Pumpernickel has chocolate flavors in it too. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I get that. It just doesn't have a breadiness to it, like a yeastiness to it. But I like it. It's really unique, and I think it's awesome that they.
This is really weird. Like the fact that it's not a rye, but it tastes like a rye. I'm confused. I don't know. What do you think? I'm lost.
No, not Drayman, Kentucky, not David Nichols Reserve. Davidson Reserve out of Pennington Distillery in Nashville, Tennessee.
And it's odd. It's not bad. It's not there. It's not off-putting.
I like the fact that it's a higher rye mash bill.
It is a high rye mash bill, but
I enjoy that.
Shouldn't taste like pure rye. Like I don't get any corn.
David, what do you think about deciding to try a new bottle or not?
I think it's tough. Certainly, any of us who are serious about whiskey, and we see these new distilleries pop up. If you're like me, what you do is you go on YouTube and you see if any of them have reviews with folks that you tend to either find yourself completely disagreeing with or agreeing with. I think it would honestly help these distilleries if they might make some bourbons and
mini bottles
or some smaller sizes, maybe some 50 milliliter bottles, 375 milliliter bottles. It might ease the pain of spending the $60 on a bourbon like maybe a Journeyman distillery out of Michigan, where you're going to spend $60 on something that might have been aged only 2 years. And I understand it might only be in a quarter cask, but it would give you a better idea of what whether you like that particular flavor profile or not.
Perfect segue to this question I've been meaning to ask is about John J. Bowman, because I'm hearing a lot of great things about it. I'm in the liquor stores. It's all over the place. I can get it just about anywhere. I go into Kmart and they sell this shit.
Have you bought one yet?
But to spend $50 on something, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I just don't want to buy something that I'm going to be disappointed.
Is it the single barrel?
Yeah.
I think the small batch is like 30 or 40 bucks.
Yeah, the small batch, yeah, it's like $35, and the single barrel's 50-ish, something like that. And it's, like I said, it wouldn't be the end of the world if I bought it and I didn't like it. I would feel like a sucker if I did.
I really like the stuff John J. Bowman's putting out. I believe they're sourcing from Buffalo Trace and then aging it in Virginia, I want to say.
Actually,
Yes.
I heard they're redistilling it. So they're buying Buffalo Trace distillate and then distilling
Right.
it for a third time, which would, to me, it seemed, if you're distilling it a third time, it would lighten it up quite a bit. I mean, unless they're just distilling it and running everything they're distilling back into the bottle or the barrel, which
Right.
is technically.
I know you're absolutely right on that. I personally enjoy it more than like the Buffalo Trace, like the store brand Buffalo Trace. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the small batch or the single barrel?
Both actually.
Okay.
And they have a port finish too, but I think that's right around like $50.
Right.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's more complex than the regular Buffalo Trace.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. I
Wow.
enjoy it.
All right. I'll give it a shot.
You should. If not, if you don't like it, you can always blame me.
Oh, yeah, I do that no matter what.
John,
We've been doing this for 90 minutes, so hey.
Do we need to end it? Are we?
And Aaron's still sober.
I'm okay, but
After I'm still recovering. Unfortunately, it's been 2 months and I'm still recovering from the last time y'all tried to kill me. I'm drinking Booker's Moose. It's okay. We're good. But yeah, that one really, I'm not one to say that like I don't think I've ever been poisoned that badly. That was intense. I definitely did drunk call some people and yelled at them and had them people I hadn't talked on the phone with for like I don't know 8 to 10 years, but somehow magically figured out how to dial on my phone and I couldn't see straight.
All it took was like 10 shots of 130 proof bourbon.
That's it.
What's a 140-pound girl supposed to do? And no dinner.
that was the mistake.
Yeah, that's probably what did it in.
I thought I was gonna die. So yeah, I'm still recovering. So yes, I may drink a little bit more, but I think I'm pretty much good. Ooh, of course you had to bring that bottle out. This is the bottle that turned me on to bourbon.
Really?
I was drinking red wine, and we were watching TV, and pretty soon I was drinking this one straight.
I was drinking this, and she was drinking wine, and she started reaching over her wine glass to get my Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Which one is it?
That's the B518.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Good choice.
What you got, David?
B519, 122 proof.
B519?
That's a lot lower.
You said you have the A119 also?
No, I don't. I finished that one off.
Oh, okay. How do you like this one?
To be honest, we couldn't pop the top on it, so it's time to.
There it is.
That was a great pop.
There it is.
Toward the Buffalo Trace store pick, I'd go grab my 518.
Because I really think that the A119 is probably my favorite
Really?
so far. I like it more than the 518.
I like the proof point.
Yeah.
I probably would like that even more. I don't get it.
I think the A119 is just smoother and just more rounded and balanced than the 518.
I've got one of those. I haven't tried it yet.
Which one?
The A119.
It's so freaking good.
Is that the one we finished that bottle, didn't we?
No, it's still in there.
Is that the 135 proof?
Yeah. And actually, speaking of Chad, sorry, random side note. Speaking of Elijah Craig barrel proof, I just came across a bottle of the older 2016 139.4 proof. So I am super excited about that one. I've had it once before, and it was like heaven in a glass. It was probably one of the best bourbons I've ever had.
You're saying that a lot tonight.
Yeah, which one was that, Tom?
You must have had a really good day. You must be glad to be off work. Glad to be home and not driving, huh?
Which one was the best one you ever had?
What's that?
Which one was the best one you ever had?
The A119.
Oh, that I just grabbed. I haven't even opened it up.
I thought you said it was a different one.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Oh, that one.
No, he got lost.
I was thinking of the new batches. No, it's an old bottle. It's before they changed the label. It's 139.4 proof.
No, it's 2016 is what you just said.
Yes.
I'm not drunk.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Jim's gonna keep getting out the Elijah Craig barrel proof until
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pour myself a glass of wine here in a second.
Can
Actually,
you see that? This is the A119.
what's the proof on the A119? Hey, look at all the Elijah Craig bottles. They're pretty.
Woo!
Here, woo!
That's right.
What's up?
All right, so going around, I have right now the B518. Jim, you said you have the A119, right?
Yeah, the best bourbon you ever drank in your life. I'm gonna try it right now.
But he said that more than once tonight. You can't.
Yeah, I know.
I said that was the best of the new batches.
We know he's full of shit. So.
Steve, which one do you have?
The one I have in my hand is the 518, but I'm waiting to see what David just poured.
Yeah, David, which one do you got?
So I have the B519, the
I'm gonna
120.
find some wine.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll be back.
I'll go 518 and join you and Aaron.
I'm really curious on that 519.
519? I think I have that one too.
I've got that. I've got the 519 or 518, 918, A119, and B119, plus one older one.
I think the only one that I don't have is the B519, the one that just came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have that one too.
Also sealed, never opened.
Jim's on top of it.
I can see
That's
the
right.
That's how I do. That's how I do.
Well, I recently went down to Mississippi and Louisiana, and down there you can find Elijah Craig barrel proof like it's, I don't even Fireball or something. Like it is just stacked on the shelf.
You drink all that, I'm going to beat you.
You hear this?
He drinks my water.
I think a super chat for Fireball is in the works.
Luckily,
That won't happen.
there's none of that in the house.
Oh, I have a
so
story. Have you heard the story?
don't
of
even
Fireball?
try.
That's
No.
sacrilege. Oh,
Don't even try.
I tried to go toe to toe with a 400 pound.
John, have a good night, buddy.
Oh, John's leaving.
John's leaving. He said he's got to run. Week's off.
And he's in Pacific time zone. It doesn't count.
He probably has to go put his kid to bed or
That's
something.
probably true. Yeah, I decided that I was going to drink toe to toe with someone, and we were drinking moonshine and Fireball and beer and tequila and yeah, I don't drink Fireball anymore.
So good. The Elijah Craig, not Fireball. Just for the record.
David, what do you think on the compared to the A119 that you had last?
This is really good. This is like A119 with a little bit of water in it. But I have to tell you, after
A lot lower.
after having the Blum brothers, nothing has really compared to that.
I already said what it would take to get me to drink pot still. Really? We're going to do this tonight? How about Robert Mondavi? Can I do Robert Mondavi? Hey, it's a bourbon finish barrel.
Those are really awesome, aren't they? Did I turn you on to that?
What?
Did I turn you on to those? Did I turn you on to the Robert Mondavi barrel finish?
I don't think so, because I think I was drinking this before. This is what I was drinking the night I started drinking Elijah Craig, which is why I was like, ooh, I need a Robert Mondavi. I don't know.
It's
Pete,
really nice.
It is a very nice bottle.
to you, buddy. Cheers.
So this 119th, the
Have we created a monster?
A119 will knock your dick in the dirt. I mean,
Won't
holy
I'm lacking said anatomy. I don't know how to finish.
I beg your pardon.
You're good, but I'm like, that's an interesting way of phrasing it.
Is that not freaking delicious? I mean, it is.
Oh yeah.
I don't know of another bourbon that has as much flavor. Just like pure smack you in the face,
Yep.
punch your mama flavor.
Yep.
As Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Punch the dirt. Yep.
I mean,
It's really
I did have a question. You were mentioning the website where I could get those glasses.
yes.
What was that again? Since I can't find a link for that anywhere.
The website is bourbonblindtasting@gmail.com.
No, that's
Oh, okay. It's
Yeah.
like sending an email. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot like sending an email, actually.
Yeah, as opposed to an online storefront that I could go and just punch in numbers. So okay.
Yeah, we're not that fancy around here.
No, that's great.
The other option is go to the Facebook group, and there's a post about all the glasses that are available. And you can either send me a message or just comment in there. Whatever, as long as you get a hold of me, we'll take care of it.
I think I know how to get in touch with you.
Steve,
Yeah.
how many do you need?
Just a couple.
Okay.
We'll make that happen.
You want
I'm sure we can.
you want the big one? You want the big ones or the
Tasters.
neat tasters,
the
right?
neat
Eat
tasters.
tasters.
Okay.
I'm on it. We'll get it.
We should still have a couple of them. Send me an email.
Yeah, well, you and I are going to be talking this weekend on the whole streaming and toys.
Right.
I love your background, just to let you know.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Green screen.
We need one.
That's
Done. Noted.
that's why we're gonna be talking to Kyle.
My I don't want to say stolen because it was given to me, but my barrel.
the Peerless barrel head.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
waiting for someone at Peerless to contact us. if
I already
they wanna-
contacted
Oh,
them. They
did you?
said keep it.
Oh, how lovely. Someone at the New Orleans Bourbon Festival, we won't name names on what distillery they were from, but they were not from Peerless, told me to keep it. And they actually chased me out of the hall with the damn thing and told me to take it. So I was like, okay.
Nice try, David.
Hmm?
I
Jim
know, I was
Hill
trying to
wanted to
reach
do
out to the
that.
bourbon blind.
Yeah.
The Bourbon Blind.
Well done, Jim.
Thank you.
Well done.
Jim, I love the fact that you went and got
It
that.
only
Like,
works for Jim. Just it's a geography thing, David.
Jim went out and actually got that sticker made and die cut and special ordered, and he slapped it on his wall, man.
You know, I'm a big fan.
We appreciate
Where-
that.
I was going to
Oh,
say,
look at that.
Look, that's awesome.
Boom.
next is the tattoo. That's it.
Well, yeah, but we got to keep it
I'm
clean.
gonna glass. I might get a shirt. I'm not getting a tattoo. Just saying.
Maybe if we get a big enough super chat, Kyle will get Bourbon Blind tattooed on himself.
That's a hell of an ask.
A big super chat.
I think right on his
I just
keister.
get one
There you
right
go.
here,
No,
and then I'll get a matching one right here.
you have to get it so I can you can watch your mom rip your shirt off again. Sorry, that's an inside joke.
So, who has the best Elijah Craig here?
That's a tough one. Okay, what are the proofs? We got 133. I know David said one.
David, Jim's at
120.
I'm at the
135.
same one as you are.
135.2.
135.2.
David's at 120,
122.
Yeah, what happened?
and Steve is at the same one we have.
Apparently, this Elijah Craig is the stepson of.
It's the redheaded
Elijah
stepson.
Craig. That's right.
It's the Elijah Craig Jr.
That's
The Craig
right.
Jr.
So I'm guessing, Jim, yours is at 133. What?
135.
135.2.
It's a simple mathematical equation. The highest proof is always the best.
You're a proof hoe.
I am,
is.
but at least I can name them. Even blind. I'm like, if
So-
it's not over 120, it tastes like shit.
Really?
It's only 94 proof, but what about this one?
Which one's that?
The
One of
old
the
one.
old label, one of the old ones.
Yeah.
Well, 94 still.
Is that the 12-year?
I'm trying to see if it actually says it on here.
It's on the very top
Yep.
left on the
Yep.
back.
No, perfection takes time, and at 12 years old, ...
Yep.
That's a
I used to get that for $18 a bottle.
Oh, I'm sure. That cork
If
is
only, right?
loose.
maybe when you bought it, it might have been $18.
Moose said your proof is bigger.
No comment. Ooh, that's not good.
Moose is only a stubby 131.4. I mean, we can't all be built the same, Moose. We can't all be built the same. Some people are just, proof bigger than others.
Some say it's all about the, the motion in the ocean with other things. Maybe it's about like how it drinks. So if it drinks like it's 135, maybe we can say it's 135.
Well, that may be true, but it's awfully damn hard to get to England in a rowboat.
You could walk, ask Google for directions,
That's right.
swim.
So the B519 I have is 122.2.
Yep.
The A119 is the really hot one.
Yeah, that thing, but it's a massive
134 something.
135. 135 too. It's a monster.
66. Yeah, that's okay.
It's a monster.
I don't think I'm completely sober anymore.
That 135 A119 is just freaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there, but it is crazy.
How come your glass has? You drank my bourbon.
Yeah.
What, me?
Yeah, you're drinking that now too.
Mhm. You can't prove it.
It's just on video. It'll be all right.
Have you cut that with water at all, Kyle?
No.
I just did, and it's still huge. Yeah.
I mean, it is literally like smack your grandma on your face kind of.
Those are
flavor.
fighting words, Jim.
Slap my ass and call me Sally. Yeah, I know. But the thing of it is it's so strong. It's astringent. It dries your tongue out. It's got a ton of flavor, but there's just so much there. I put a little bit of distilled water in it, and it's got a lot in it.
Yours is bigger than mine.
Yours is
Well, yeah.
Well, that's the first time he's going to admit that.
I don't know about adding water. I'm a little scared.
No, you can. If it's the A119, give it a shot. So,
It's
I
not
mean,
the B518.
18.
518. I was right.
It's 133. It's a measly 133.4 or something like that.
But I don't like anything that's under 100. Like if it's not 100 proof, it tastes awful.
Give me the water.
Oh, you're gonna
just
ruin
a
it.
proof hoe,
I am.
proof queen.
No, I like proof hoe. We can go with that. That's too much. I'm not tasting that.
So, Aaron, you are like me, a proud and willing member of the Proof Whore Brigade.
Cheers. But at least I could put my mouth where my actions are. I was trying to get it right, but I didn't. I can back.
That just happened.
I can just switch up. But nonetheless, I'm usually spot on with proofs. It's really scary. I've been noticing in our bourbon, we run the Lincoln County Bourbon Society, and I can usually pick proofs out of nowhere. I don't know necessarily the distillery unless it's a Jim Beam or New Riff. Sometimes Four Roses now. I'm starting to not be able to name those, but proof I can get. So I'm gonna stop rambling.
Okay.
Cheers.
So how much do they just kind of blend together? I mean, there's so many good spirits out there, and I completely agree with
You
you,
were
Aaron.
offended.
In terms of the proof, typically I get pretty close, but man, you've got so much good juice out there, and even a lot of MGP stuff is so good. And I can't tell you how many times I had something I thought this has to be a turkey, because turkey's without a doubt my favorite brand, and it's not. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff out there, and when you're drinking blind, man,
It throws you.
There is a lot of really good bourbon on the market right now. There's a lot of crap too, but there's a lot of really good bourbon.
There is.
totally
And
agree.
I've really tried to slow down my spending, and I have.
Wrong.
Slow, not stop.
My
What?
last work trip, I went to Kentucky, and I came home with like 3 bottles.
That's because
Wow.
you don't have any place to hide them anymore.
I can put them in my work.
All right,
Oh, I brought.
so just ballpark, Kyle. How many bottles do you think you have in your inventory? Just ballpark.
Down to the open ones. Let's see if he remembers how many open ones in the house we had.
183.
There you go.
We talked about it.
Okay.
How many unopened?
Earlier.
No, just complete.
No, we took a picture on what was the Four Roses?
Bourbon
With-
Blind Nation.
Was that
Yeah,
on?
that was stupid. He's got like 100 bottles of Four
I
Roses.
was like, where's all this? I was like,
So,
this
Jim,
is
do you include
ridiculous. I was like, I do not even want to admit I did not know how many bottles of Four Roses.
All
we
of
had.
my Four Roses sits on one shelf right now, minus what's open. One.
There's over 80 bottles, isn't it?
Yeah, it sits on one shelf. And how much is in the open in the cabinet?
I don't know.
So I'm betting at least 24 bottles.
What was the question, Jim?
How many bottles? Just ballpark. We know you're not bragging. Just most people are curious. How many bottles, just in total, in your inventory, would you say you have?
Open and not open?
Yep, complete.
I want to know this answer.
Close your
Oh
ears.
yeah, I do.
No.
Close your ears.
Moose, if you need
Earmuffs.
if
Earmuffs.
you need me to talk to your wife,
Earmuffs.
I gladly will. She
Yeah,
won't-
Aaron, you can't hear this because we need to.
Between 500 and 600.
Damn.
Wow, those are
many of
lucky
those are
numbers.
Damn.
I think his
you know,
just quivered a little bit.
How many unique bottles in terms of not?
3.
recipes, distilleries. You need to be a little more specific.
No, I mean, okay, so
Are you
you've got
kidding me?
Weller A107, and you may have
Steve.
3 bottles of just regular plain old Weller A107. That's one unique bottle.
I'm guessing.
What
he
about
probably
all the
has
different-
About 400 different.
What about all the different store picks of 107?
Different store picks count individually.
Yep.
Oh, God.
400.
So
Agreed.
that's what I'm
I'm
trying to
betting
figure out.
400.
I've got several bottles that I have, and not a lot, but I have a handful of bottles that have 2 or 1 or 2 or 3 backups of just that bottle.
Yep.
I don't. It sounds a lot more than it is. It's fine.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like exactly what it is.
It is. Yeah, it is what it is. So, Steve, you
Yeah.
bring up a good point, though.
At the apocalypse.
And seriously, and I'm curious about this because, like you said, you have 2 or 3 backups. So, what do you like to get in terms of like backups? So you're gonna buy. There's a bourbon you want. You like it. I mean, nothing crazy like 101 because you have to have a case or 2 of that. No doubt about that.
Dramman, you are banned for life.
No, you get a gold star. I'm sorry,
So-
Jim. What was that?
So, just in general, how many bottles? If you're going to buy something, how many bottles? I mean, because for example, for me, you always have to have a backup, but I like to have a backup of a backup. So once I burn the first one out because it's gone, I'm into the second one. I don't have to shit a brick because I don't have a backup. So usually it's about 3.
For me, it really depends on availability. Where I've got like my open bottle of Eagle Rare 10, just the regular plain old Eagle Rare 10 year. And then I've got another bottle of that sitting on a shelf because I just want to make sure I have one sitting around. And I've got the Pritchard's Double Chocolate. and I've got a spare bottle of that because that's kind of hard to find, and I stumbled across the second bottle, so I bought it. And on the Scotch front, I've got a couple of bottles there that essentially they're not sold anymore. So I've got the bottle that I have open and 1 or 2 or maybe 3 that I've got stuffed on the shelves because you just can't find it anymore.
Okay, Steve, how many bottles do you have?
Total bottles, I'm not sure. Unique bottles is about 160.
That's an acceptable answer.
So the Whiskey Crusaders, who I did a live stream with,
They're on a whole nother level.
Steve's laughing.
They're on a whole nother level.
They have about 600 different bottles of bourbon and about 2,000 different bottles of Scotch.
Yeah, and let's talk about.
I'm asking him right now.
Do you
Scotch is expensive.
No, I'm not talking about the price of their bottle. I'm talking about how big their show is and how long they've been on.
They have like maybe subscribers.
They've only been doing streams for a few months now.
Yep.
Yes, streaming, but how long have they been doing other things?
Not that long.
Including videos since it was after the beginning of the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
They were not doing streams or videos in 2018 that I know of. Okay, they hosted, so Matt in particular hosted several on Scotch test dummies.
Oh, I was
brand reps coming in.
What was this? Oh, Whiskey Crusaders.
Yeah.
Okay.
400 subscribers. 45 videos.
Apparently, they make a lot more money than we do.
Apparently. I know, because if I had more money, I would have more bourbon.
I'm blown away. I had no idea how much bourbon we had.
Anyway, Jim.
No. That's not how much bourbon. Most of it is Scotch.
No, I'm talking about Kyle's little collection.
Oh, okay. That 500. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad, Kyle. My bad.
No, you're fine.
So, Jim, if I don't post anything in the next 48 hours on YouTube or Facebook,
I murdered him and buried him in the backyard.
please send a search party and
do that.
Wow.
So as far as to answer your question, Steve, the majority of them would be unique. Jim, to answer your question, I don't do a whole lot of
buying bottles.
Well, I have a couple. If it's something that I really like, I'll try and get a couple backups of it. Otherwise, a lot of them are just one-off bottles, whether it's Kentucky Gentleman or you know what I mean? Like for the longest time, like I would just buy absolutely anything that I could, anything that was new, and I just wanted to taste absolutely everything. Where now it's I know what I'm looking for, and it's just not.
Unless someone requests it for the show, we do pick up random bottles here and there for the show.
People request bottles and stuff for the show that we don't have, and I'll try and find them.
We definitely do that.
Moose asked the right question.
David and Jim, how many bottles do you guys have?
And Whiskey Crusaders just joined the chat finally.
Whiskey Crusaders, we were just talking about you.
No, the reason he joined the chat is because I asked him in Discord, how many bottles do you have? The question just came up. His response was, holy crap, Kyle's still alive? I'm like, yeah, there's a reason I'm not on the screen.
No, I'm still alive and alive. Like alive.
Both.
So
yeah. After 2 hours, we are still live.
We're not going to talk about David's collection. That doesn't matter. Jim, how many bottles do you have roughly?
Somewhere north of 200, but not 300.
Exactly.
We have 186 bottles open.
Totally reasonable. See?
I've got about 60 bottles open, and I feel bad about that.
No, Jim, you're not helping.
But this is just me. I'm not doing this for people to watch and learn. I mean, you guys are providing a valuable public service. So
that's right.
Cheers
that's
on
right,
that.
David.
Of course you should have a lot of bottles open.
Now,
Kyle and Aaron,
bottles do you have open? And don't worry about rookie numbers.
Me or David?
David.
How many bottles do I have, or how many bottles do I have open?
Yes.
Okay, so
In total.
Stop stealing my glass.
all right, so I have 20 bottles of whiskey in the house, and I have 7 bottles open.
Rookie numbers. That's okay. No problem.
David's building a new house and stuff. So I mean, he's got other expenses to worry about.
Okay, no.
I wish I was there. It's a sickness. And he doesn't have it yet.
I
So
wish Kyle was at your numbers, Jim.
the thing of it is, you get, like I was talking about earlier, like the John Bowman. So here's, this is the issue that I have. You want to buy it, you want to try it, but how many times do I get to a liquor store? I mean, not a lot, maybe twice a week. So if
Twice a week.
you're going to buy it, and then when are you going to open it and have a shot at it, drinking it, and because if I like it, obviously I'll buy 3 bottles. That's my standard. But something that you don't like, or something that you've never tried, are you going to, because I did the same thing with Joseph Magnus, and Kyle's to blame for that because he did a bourbon blind on it and they loved the shit out of it. So I had to have it. Yeah, Joseph Magnus. And I went and bought 3 bottles of it at $100 a bottle. I mean, it's good. It's good, but it's not worth $100 a bottle, in my opinion. I'd rather have a case and a half of, 3 cases of Wild Turkey 101.
We'll talk. We'll help you out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And in response,
David's smart over there. He's reasonable.
you had the question of how many bottles that I had, and I knew that I had 160 unique bottles because I actually have a spreadsheet that I track them on, kind of like you do, but that's just my inventory. I got 137 open. Actually, that'll be 139 tonight.
I'm a very big spreadsheet person. Kyle has put that together so that I can find bottles.
No,
he is not the spreadsheet type of person.
It's the only way I could possibly keep track of my inventory.
I understand completely. I run a different business, and I run a spreadsheet to make sure that I know where my money's going and where it's gone. I can tell you right now where that is, but with Bourbon Blind, we kind of have a different track record and a different way of doing things.
I know where every bottle is right here.
Yeah,
Bingo.
I actually do know where all my bottles are.
Where's the Booker's?
I don't know. That bottle I've lost. I don't know.
Which one?
You know where all but one bottle is.
Shiny barrel batch.
It's gone.
In my defense, you said you took it, and since then it's gone.
Is that behind the cat on the cabinet behind you?
There's a cat?
Huh?
I can't tell. It's kind of obscured.
Oh, that's a shadow. Are you talking about this right here?
No. On top of the cabinet, there's some sort of black shape.
Hat.
That's a hat?
It's her witch hat.
It's my witch hat.
Because she is a witch.
No, I'm a bitch.
God.
That's okay. Well,
Is that the Booker's back there?
There's some empty Bookers.
No, it's not.
There's a gallon of Four Roses from the 50s or something.
It's not from the 50s. It's from the 70s.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's nothing open up here.
No.
No, that open and empty does not count. That's a souvenir.
The Goliath.
The Goliath.
Damn!
So this is
Whiskey Crusaders. We're doing the StreamYard. This is the one we were talking about earlier on Bill's channel.
Oh,
that is a big freaking bottle of Four Roses.
I love that.
Nice.
I like it. 1 gallon. It's freaking giant.
And yes, Matt, we can hook up later and figure it out.
I can't get the new small batch select or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hasn't made it to Minnesota yet.
That's where you are, Steve, in Minnesota?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
What do you mean, sorry?
No one liked
it. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did.
No, my bad. No, that's awesome. Minnesota.
Right.
I'm going to have a skosh more of this 119.
Whiskey Crusaders.
Oh.
He's asking Steve A, but
So shiny batch barrel.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, ours is missing.
That's probably one of the best bookers I've had.
Another bottle Jim's cracking for the stream.
It was so good.
Right. Notice that it's like completely sealed.
Notice what I just said. You're cracking the bottle for the stream.
I'm cracking.
That is probably one of my favorite
Let's go.
batches of bookers
It
ever.
was
I like the Kentucky Chew. The Kentucky Chew is really good.
Bookers. It's
Is the whiskey that's still
Backyard
here?
barbecue too.
Backyard barbecue used to be my
Yeah.
favorite. This one was way better until Kyle lost it.
You lost it. You had it last. The quasi-Canadian accent.
No. That's quasi-Canuckistanian.
Canuckistanian.
What is Canuckistanian?
Canuck.
It's a
Canadian.
Canadian
So,
accent.
Aaron,
I like Canadian.
Canuckistan is Canada.
Yep.
Okay.
Canuckistanian would therefore be somebody who lives in Canada.
Canuckistan.
Or sounds like they're from Canada. For
Luke,
both-
we're looking for the silver
Shiny barrel.
shiny barrel.
Here it is.
Tiny barrel batch.
Oh,
Really-
and it happens to be a bourbon blind glass.
it just
In
came out.
that nice fancy glass too.
Cheers.
Right? Cheers.
We'll get that figured out tomorrow or Sunday, Kyle.
So now we can be at 501 bottles.
501 bot. No. I'm not sending bottles. I'm buying glasses.
Oh yes, no, you can buy glasses, but we need to get another bottle of that so we can be at 501.
I'll need to find one. I think Elixir has some.
I'll call Tarek in the morning.
Corey, you do need a fancy glass, buddy. We'll hook you up. What do you think, Jim?
It's really good. You definitely get the peanut on it for sure. It reminds me, what's that peanut liqueur or it's that bourbon that everyone's talking about? Matter of fact, I picked up a bottle of it somewhere.
I want to say like Skewers or something.
Screwball.
The peanut butter.
That's it. It reminds, it's like Frangelico, but instead of hazelnut, it's peanut. And yeah, this has a ton of peanut. It's good. It's really good.
That screwball is literally like peanut brittle in a glass.
It is.
It is so sweet.
What is?
Screwball. It's out of work behind my desk.
Won't bring it home so I can drink it. No, we're drinking it at work.
You would not like it. It is way sweet. Like way sweet. Literally like peanut brittle liquid.
I like it.
Okay, Bill's still
Got
here.
it.
Hookers.
Walk Elixir at Elixir in just south of Nashville.
Amazing.
He made
store.
me I don't want to call it a cocktail because it was they can't do it, just tastings, right? Because of state law. So it was in a cup like yay big. But it was a little bit of that peanut butter whiskey and a little bit of some sort of like chocolate something or other.
Ooh.
It was like Reese's peanut butter in a glass. It was really good.
You got your chocolate in my peanut butter.
You got your peanut butter in my chocolate.
And this
Right.
episode is sponsored by Elixir. Hi, Rare Bird 101.
DJ, what's up, buddy?
There it is.
DJ, I picked up that Cornerstone.
Actually, this episode is sponsored by Don't Kill Kyle.
That's right.
I cannot believe you.
I bet you DJ has more bottles of
Okay, DJ.
wild turkey than I do bourbon.
Bullshit. DJ, so we just found out on the chat, or I shouldn't say we, I just found out on the chat, Kyle's got 500 bottles.
Jim ratted me out.
I just fucked up the bro code, didn't I?
No,
You did.
you're fine.
Yeah, big time.
I'll give him shit for about a week and then we'll be on with it. So, DJ, how many bottles do you have? Because this has now become a conversation
Moose, for work, I work with cameras and stuff.
and stuff. I also happen to work there, and the fact that he's hidden
see,
so
look
many
at that.
bottles. See, 150. That is a reasonable amount of bottles.
Yeah, Matt.
He has more
No way.
Matt,
open.
how many you have? And I realize that a lot of them are Scotch.
Yeah, Whiskey Crusaders all together, open, unopened, Scotch,
Yeah, that's not going to defend you.
bourbon, everything.
I just keep telling everyone that if our house is on fire and the kids are not in the house, stand back because the house is going to blow up. And if the kids are in the house, we don't own any alcohol. Please go save the kids.
Somewhere between the.
I think Matt's got over 2,000.
Right? I mean, that's
Where do you store
an
2,000?
appropriate amount. That's an appropriate amount. If you have less than that, you're just, kind of playing in it, right?
I mean, hey, fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Bottles. Where would you put 2,000 bottles? I don't even want to know.
It essentially takes up his house.
I have seen some people that have literally like a room dedicated to bourbon and literally just
Every
like
room in our house is
when they-
dedicated to bourbon.
when they go buy a store pick or something, they buy a case of it. Like they literally they
Is it
they don't
under the
buy
house?
bottles, they buy cases.
Are you
My
hiding?
heroes. They're my heroes.
Right?
Really,
Like,
really, Aaron, he's just trying to justify the behavior here. This is all he's trying to do.
I'm still in shock. I mean, I'll get over the shock. I just cannot believe that we have 500 bottles hiding somewhere.
And I keep seeing David's membership getting kicked off of Patreon here.
That's 200 bottles less than you.
2,000 bottles equal divorce.
I would,
And it's a lot cheaper. Trust me.
if there was divorce involved, I'd have to take half the bottles.
No, you get the kids.
No,
Okay.
bourbon.
That sounded
You
awful.
can keep the kids.
Yeah, so how about that resurgence?
Right? It's so delicious.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know. Even though it's young, again, the interesting thing about it is I'm convinced, and I've been spoken with those guys, and I'm pretty sure you have, Kyle. I'd love to know if they made that, they created the mash bill with the intention of selling it young. I believe they did.
What are you looking for?
So, Jim,
I will send a message and ask
so
my source.
here's the thing. Rye does not need as much time to age to be good as bourbon does.
I
No.
would.
Not even close.
Totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I'm not going to pretend to understand why, but ryes just do not need to age as long.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, so I know some folks that have distilled with rye and others, and rye, 100% rye, it gets very cinnamony, like within 2 or 3 months, and there's some complexity to it.
We lost David.
We lost David.
Oh
Oh, shit.
David tapped out. He has the link.
It's
no! We'll come back.
maybe
Or
Yeah,
not.
it's solidly over 2 hours at this point. So
Like I said, that's a
We're
typical.
at almost 2.5 at this point.
really? Yeah, I guess
Yep,
Yeah.
we're at
2 hours,
2
14
hours,
minutes.
18 minutes, and 21, 2, 3. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It would make sense that rye isn't
All right.
more versatile.
I sent a message to the master
Matt
distiller.
won't come back with an actual number. It's well more than all of you combined.
Now, who is this?
Whiskey
Whiskey
Crusaders.
Crusaders.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know those guys.
Apparently, they have a lot of liquor.
Yeah,
so
no,
their
it
house
does.
will explode.
Not
There's
to
questions about whether
mention
our
his
house
cohorts on
will
the channel.
And Moose, we always run marathons here.
So, Steve,
Fair enough, Matt. Thank you.
do you have a YouTube channel or something like that you do? And I'm not trying to be silly. I don't.
No. Technically, I do. I've published a few videos, mostly video game stuff, and having gone out on a motorcycle with a GoPro on it, that I've done a couple of videos, but no sort of streams or regular videos or anything like that.
What video games?
The only ones I think I ever published anything were for a couple of short clips from PUBG and a couple of longer ones from City of Heroes back when that was still a thing like 8 years ago.
I haven't heard of either one of those. Okay.
So do you do anything with bourbon? Like a channel with bourbon? You know, like bourbon blend? Okay. So I mean, I love the Rick House thing in the back. That's just your thing?
So I had on Twitch, I had done some video game streaming for a while.
Oh, okay.
And I had the green screen behind me to be able to black out the background. So it was me overlaid on top of the video game stream without, and I didn't put like, you know, the Rick House back there.
Oh, that's freaking cool.
But because I had that whole setup going, once I started doing Google Hangouts and stuff like that, and hopping on a couple of streams, it was easy enough for me because I had the streaming software with OBS to be able to put something like that on where, thank you, Dram Man, just thank you so much. The reason he says that is that I was on Whiskey Dick's Discord for a while and on Scotch for Dummies Discord for a while. Then one night, I Whiskey She Wines wanted to do a Discord, and before the end of their stream, I had their Discord up and running for them. And then I hopped in with Bourbon Sane and helped him run his, because I'd already essentially been running Scotch for Dummies Discord for a while because they had a problem with some of the permissions, and I hopped in and ran stuff there. So that's
Awesome.
He calls me Discord Jesus.
So basically, you're an internet geek.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, no. Flat out, yeah. No discussion.
Because a lot of the folks you'll see on the internet, they're folks like Kyle and Aaron who do a website, and you know, so Kyle has a few bottles of bourbon laying around, and that makes sense because that's sort of what they do. You can't you can't fault them because it's beyond their hobby. It's a public service that they need to do.
Public service.
No, but
when the house explodes, we can all watch.
It's something that they need to do for the prosperity of everybody who's looking at it. You know, a guy like me, I'm just
all
Jim.
24 of you guys are absolutely loving the fact that Kyle has 500 bottles.
No,
I fucking dig that shit. That's fucking awesome. I mean, yeah, totally.
That's not impressive.
Those are rookie numbers.
Crusaders, it's a lot of damn whiskey.
I already have our long-term, like post-apocalyptic. I can't even say
post-apocalyptic.
Thank you. Plan in order. We will be running a bar, so people will come up near and far to find alcohol.
If you look at like shit hits the fan scenarios, being able to create or have a supply of alcohol is really high on the list of
it is.
Shit you should do.
Cigarettes and coffee, and I don't smoke.
Yeah.
And toilet paper.
I brew beer.
Me too.
Well, you distilled. You kind of have to.
No, yeah. Well, I first started brewing beer well when I was a kid with my dad, like 40 some years ago, and then
brewing beer we've got that down. Except we're missing still our. No, I bought that.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we brewing beer?
Because it's freaking hot outside.
Because you don't have any fucking room because everything's full of bourbon.
Kyle only brews when I'm pregnant.
Oh well, yeah.
Just an FYI for everyone else, because bourbon smells, or not bourbon. I'm sorry, we have not brewed bourbon yet. We have not distilled any bourbon. Brewing beer smells nasty when you're pregnant. So Kyle loves to brew when I'm pregnant. So when we have more kids, we'll have more beer.
All right, guys.
Super peanutty on that.
2.5 hours.
Spiraled down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We're at 2.5 hours. It is now. It must be close to midnight.
I'm going to hit the end broadcast. Everyone in the chat, we freaking love you guys.
To 21 viewers after 2 hours and 20
minutes. Yeah.
Years. I would choose you with bourbon, but Kyle keeps drinking the Elijah Craig faster than I can pour it.
I'll
Have a wonderful night.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Well, we
Oh.
went